Hi everyone, Jonathon Zuzga with ZUMA Concepts. Today I'm bringing you a video on how to safely set up a higher than average tree stand. And when I say higher than average, I generally hunt out of a 50 or 60 foot stand. I do that in a cottonwood tree. In this particular video, I couldn't find a tree that would allow me to get up 50 or 60 feet, so I was only able to do about 45. But nonetheless, it was a really good setup, and I want to share it with you guys. But in this video, you're going to see the way that I scout, some of the drone footage. I'm going to show you a map out of the access points. On this particular setup, I wasn't able to use my e-bike, but I can use my e-bike in a lot of my other setups on private lands. So I want to share all of that information, show it to you guys, and I'll explain it to you in this video as you're watching it. But here at the beginning, I really want to put some emphasis on the safety side of this. It's very dangerous setting a stand up this high, and then hunting out of it is another aspect that you have to be considering safety. And I'm going to go through all the safety components. I'm going to go through all the equipment I use, and I'm going to explain how to use it. So as you see it in the video, I just want to give you a close-up because it really the safety side of this is big to me. I was a little hesitant to put this video out because it's very effective. It works really well for deer hunting, and I just don't want people going into this thinking it's simple or they can skip the safety side. The safety side is critical. So I'm going to go through it real quick with you. And for starters, the first harness I use is when I'm setting up. And for setup, you can't really hang from your normal harness because you need to count on that harness to lean back on and to get yourself into position, especially when you start to get this high and you need to put different things in place. In this video, you're going to see me work primarily from the ladder. And the only time I'm working off the ladder, I'm standing on a limb. But when I'm on private land, I use spikes, and I'm going to cover that different equipment with you here. So the first harness I use is a lineman harness. Tree service people use that. I bought this from a buddy of mine that does tree service work. The way this works is this back piece, this is reinforced. This is the section that you sit on while you're working. You step inside this harness. Goes just on top of your hips. Get that tight. And these come around and clip on your thighs. You make sure them are snug. This one's a little loose, but make sure them are snug. Then this rope here is critical to your working. It goes around the tree and supports you. So what happens, you reach around the tree at the base, get this on, and then you use this cinch knot to adjust how much rope you have depending on the size of the tree. And the idea is to get this as set so you're comfortable with the distance you are from the tree while you're leaning back working. And this allows you to lean back and work with your ratchet straps or bolt your ladders together, whatever it is you're doing. And what you want to have is two of these. You want to make two of these for your setup. And the reason for that is as you're climbing and you get to an obstacle, you'll be able to attach the second one above the obstacle, which is generally a branch or a split in the tree, and then you can disconnect the lower one, and that way you maintain constant safety being connected to the tree. Okay, so this I use for the entire setup. It's great because it allows you to lean back, you can grab your stand, you can do all kinds of work with your stand, and you don't feel like you're going to fall. The spikes I was talking about that I only use on private land are right here. These strap to your boots on the inside. Strap to your boots on the inside, and you can spike yourself into the tree and work off the ladder and around the tree. You won't see me use these in this video. Once I get to the top of the tree and I have my stand set, then I bring my safety line up. This gets dropped down. I tie a loop. I tie a loop in the end like this. Then I'll usually string this up over top of a branch or something, then back around the tree, and then I run the other end of the rope all the way through this. And what you end up with looks like a loop like this around the tree. Then the opposite end of this rope I tie at the base of the ladder, then I cut off the slack. And the function of this, all this is done. Now it's time to climb up and hunt out of this stand. You're not going to want this clanky, loud lineman harness. You're going to switch to your regular harness that you buy for deer hunting, for hunting out of any stand. This one here, I prefer the ones that have these clips like this. These are rubber coated to keep it quiet as it's clipping. This is obviously way too big, but this normally is on over top of my hunting clothes. Then if I hook it up before I walk out, I'll generally hang my carabiner like this so it's not clanging around for the walk. But this is where you use the safety line that we just tied at the top of the tree and drop to the bottom. You take one of these cinch loops, and I'm sure somebody in the safety world or in the tree service world is going to tell me whatever I just called that is wrong. That's what I call it. But you're going to put the cinch knot in it, and you go through this once, twice, 3 times, and then you want to make sure it's nice and even. When it's nice and even like that, it makes it easier when you're climbing. So what happens now, I'm at the base of the stand, I hook this in, and as I'm climbing, I just use my hand and push that up. And you do the same thing coming down. You just kind of keep a hand on it while you're climbing down and one hand on the ladder. And what will happen is if you fall, it won't slide. And when I get up in the stand, my son and my daughter and I, whoever is up there with me, we leave these hooked right to this thing. So there is never a time when we're not connected to a safety line. Here's the harness my daughter uses. Has that same kind of clip design that I was showing you with mine. It's got a nice rubber coating to it to keep it quiet. Here's the one my son uses. This is just a youth harness, same idea. This one has a seatbelt hook in it. Super easy for the kids to know and understand. And that's the safety aspect of it. Please, please, please do not take any shortcuts with the safety side of things. I'm going to have an attachment in the description for everything you just seen here. And be safe out there. Be really careful if you're going to try this setup. And as we're going through this video, like I said, I'm going to cover a lot more of this information. So hopefully you like what I put together here for you.
All right, so this is the drone taken off from my brother's property and flying out over the state land here. What I'm looking for when I fly this thing is openings like this, good trails, waterways, trees, you name it. You're just kind of really casing the area to get an idea where you want to even go scout. And I'm going to jump in here and show you some ground footage of this exact thicket that I'm flying over right now. This is what it looks like from the ground when I went in there scouting. These are the trees that I was over top of for that shot. So it's real thick, hard to see, hard to move around, can't get through any of it. And I'm kind of scouting out different areas for trees. The tree I ended up selecting is this one right here. I didn't know that at first. I went back and did this highlight for you with the later footage. Here was another tree that I checked out. And this is what it looks like from the ground in front of this tree. That's the tree that I just highlighted. This is the ground view. But again, I spent some time casing the area with the drone. I actually came back several different days because there was some stuff that once I did my walk, I wanted to get a better look at from the air to get a better understanding of the layout where it was at. These were part of the initial first overviews. So this is me flying the drone back to my brother's property and bringing it in. It's going to jump over to another drone clip. I have several here, and I do picture-in-picture, and I sped them up just so you could get an idea of the type of things that I'm able to see utilizing this for a scouting tactic. In either one of these clips, I'm looking for heavily run trails, different trees, different openings, different clearings, and once I know where they're at, I map them out, and then I take one day and spend a few hours out in the woods checking out all these spots where without the drone I wouldn't be able to know where to go or even why I wanted to go there. The drone gives me that ability to shorten up my day in the woods when I'm going to be out there doing a lot of foot travel. On my days when I scout or even when I put my stands out, I try to pick rainy, windy days. I've found that I have a lot less issues with disturbing the ground or disturbing the deer. In this picture here, you can see there's actually a deer in the footage. I didn't notice it till I went and was doing some review of it, but it's kind of cool to show you that. I'm sure you'll pick up a lot of that if you get into using the drone for scouting. These straight down views are to try and find heavily ran trails. It's a lot easier after a first snowfall to do an overview like this to figure out where the heavy deer trails are. But nonetheless, you can get pretty close here. In this clip, you're going to see a couple more. They're either deer or coyote. I couldn't really tell. Maybe you can, but just thought it was kind of cool for you guys to see what types of things you can pick up when you're using this for scouting. Here's one last clip. I came back on a second day and I wanted to check out a couple more approaches to this, and I also found that on this particular state land that the DNR had put in food plots, and I wanted to fly them and just kind of get a look at what they looked like from the sky. In this clip, I'm going to show you a potential access point. I found it, mapped it out, and I'm going to show it to you on here. And I later found out you're not able to drive on here. I was hoping I'd be able to use my e-bike to access through this highlighted path I'm about to show you. But it turned out I wasn't able to. So, not a big deal, just a little extra work added to it, having to load up the cart and pull it all out by hand. So here's another large opening that I checked out. I actually walked through this one. There was quite a bit in it. There was a lot of good sign, but looking at this property, it's too easy for a lot of people to come and hunt these food plots and that nice clearing there. It's very short walk from a parking spot from one of the DNR gates. So I opted to go further back and take the harder route, deeper back in the woods, because I figured once opening day hit of rifle season these people would be pushing deer back towards me. And here in a second you'll see the route that I was planning to take with my e-bike but wasn't able to. There you can see it down below, and I'm going to highlight where this route actually goes through the woods. It's an old logging path a DNR logged off some of this state land, but there was a trail that went nearly back right to where I was hunting. Right there is where I ended up putting the stand that you're going to see me set up. Now I'm flying the drone back to the truck. Just kind of a quick overview of all the property I was scouting. I just wanted to show you guys. I mean, I had hours of footage to review. I tried to consolidate it for you guys so I wasn't boring you with all these clips. Here is what it looks like to set up the cart with the e-bike. I did some footage at my brother's property driving through his woods so you could see what it would look like to pull this with an e-bike. If you balance that load properly on that cart, there's barely any tension on the front side of that, and it's real easy to pull that thing. So my half-mile hike with that, which you'll see some of the footage from that, wasn't too bad. As you can see with the e-bike, it's super easy. I liked using the e-bike on private land. It's quiet, it's clean, doesn't make any noise, no smell, and allows you to get back in there with being undetected. Obviously, there's a lot of noise in this, but if you look, there's a lot of wind. I think there was a 12 or 15 mile an hour wind this day, and it was raining. I know that sounds like a really bad day to climb a tree, and in most cases it would be, but it's a really great time to set up a stand and be undetected by animals in the area. So I'm starting to unload my equipment. Here I'm getting out my harness. In the beginning of this video, this is the lineman harness I was showing you. Obviously everything's in fast forward. I can't put that thing on that fast. Next thing was getting this thing unloaded, kind of prepping my area for putting the stand up. See, I leaned a portion of the steps up, got the strap started, and you can see me utilizing that lineman harness to get up and down that tree. I pre-roll all the straps to make sure they're clean and ready to go. That I have everything loaded in my pockets here, but like I said, you could use a lineman pouch. This gives you an idea what it looks like climbing up and down the tree. Here's me getting up more towards the top where I end up putting the stand. As you're watching this, one thing I want to mention, I've found it very beneficial to set these stands up in the beginning of November after rutted start, but also while there's still foliage on the trees. It helps conceal you while you're putting it up. But the reason I like to do that is generally during rut, deer aren't as sensitive to noise and other things happening, and I really am a big advocate of staying out of an area. Here's that cinch knot that I showed you in the beginning. Take 3 wraps, make sure they're even, then you hook your carabiner, and it's ready for climbing. But back to what I was saying here, I found it to be very, very beneficial to not go in the stand, not go out in your area until rut actually starts. I know that's counterintuitive to what you've heard in the past, but I've had a lot of success with it. I've shot all my big bucks on years where I incidentally wasn't able to get out hunting because of work till the very day that I went out to hunt, and them were the days that I'm most successful. As you'll see in this video, my preference is to use snow camo up in the stand. I generally won't put it on until I get up there, but I use snow camo year round, whether it's warm, cold, snow on the ground or not. As you can see, it greatly reduces my outline, nearly disappear. This next outfit you're going to see me put on is my cold weather outfit. It's called an Iwom. It's basically a sleeping bag with arms. Super comfortable, great for cold weather. I mean, you can sit out in just about anything. The feet zip shut on this, and It's got a really good hood, windproof, waterproof, really impressive piece of equipment. It's really changed my ability to sit out in these nice tall stands for a long period of time. When I take my kids, I have them put mine on. It's really baggy on them, but nonetheless it works good. They stay warm the whole time. So as you can see, like I said, there is definitely some advantage to using that white camo. Here in a second, we're going to switch over to some drone footage. Here's the drone footage. So it's basically the same clips you were just seeing from a different angle. It's a split screen. On the right is a zoom in picture to give you a closer look of me with that camo on and how effective it is on the skyline. I first stumbled across the idea of using this. I actually gave it a try once on a 15-foot stand, and I had a well-educated doe who would blow my cover every single time she came into my spot, walk right in, look right up at me in the stand, and I was wearing snow camo, and she turned and walked away. And ever since then, I've been hooked on using either a tree stand camo like that one you're seeing on the Iwom, or straight up snow camo. I just found that I don't tend to spook as many deer. I can get up and move around a lot more, and I'm just not drawing as much attention or having as much negative effect as I've seen in the past with hunting in a tree stand. And it's really quite simple. I mean, if you're looking up at a tree, like right now, this is the deer's view looking up at it. 99% of the color in the backdrop is a white or a whitish gray. So really, all I would say is wherever you're hunting, go to the bottom of where your stand is and look up, or go off to where the deer trail is and look back at your stand. If the backdrop is mostly white, snow camo is going to be your best option. I would also add that even if it's not, I don't think deer are that programmed to be afraid of solid white objects. I think the dark blobs really scare them more than what this snow camo does. Here's just a view looking up and down at the tree to show you, the height of this. Again, see how well that snow camo is concealing me up there? I mean, you can tell I'm there because you know it, but if you were just glancing or think of yourself as an animal. Here's that Iwom. It rolls up just like a sleeping bag, and the bottom of it has a little elastic piece that wraps around it, and it's literally just like a sleeping bag, and carries out real easy to put on up in the stand. It has some other cool features on it. I mean, you can when you're climbing out of the stand, you can roll it up, and there's a strap that tightens around your waist, and then it fits on you like a baggy jacket. You can release the strap and then drop the bottom part back around, and then there's a part that your boots actually tuck into, and it'll zip shut. It's a really effective piece of equipment. And that's all I have for you on this video. Hopefully you liked what you've seen, and I've given you some helpful tips. Make sure you subscribe. I plan on hunting opening day with my son, and I don't want you to miss that footage. Be safe out there, and have a good one.